Sometimes the most profound insights, they don't come from massive data sets or like 50-page academic papers. Sometimes they hit you from just a careful, highly intentional selection of a few potent words. So today we're looking at a source that is literally stripped down to its absolute bare essence. Just a title and a single overarching question. We're going to slow down, really look closely at the foundational concepts of business creation found in this text, and deconstruct the exact language used. Let's get right into it. So diving right into the core question our source poses, what is entrepreneurship? Now, it sounds super simple, right? I mean, it's a word we hear constantly. It's all over the news, your social media feed, slapped on the covers of countless books. But by isolating this question so starkly, the source kind of forces us to strip away all those modern buzzwords and the, cultural noise. It completely challenges us to stop taking the definition for granted and ask ourselves what the actual functional reality of this concept is at its absolute core. To figure that out, let's zero in on the first key word from the source's title, the architect. Just think about what an architect actually does for a second. An architect isn't someone who just, shows up on a job site and starts randomly nailing boards together hoping a house magically appears. No way! They are the prime mover. They exist entirely in the realm of intention before they ever step foot into the realm of physical action. By choosing this incredibly specific word, the source immediately sets this tone of ultimate responsibility. And what's absolutely fascinating here is how the text elevates the business creator from a mere participant, or even just a manager, to a meticulous, calculating designer. I mean, an architect deals in blueprints, right? They literally calculate load-bearing walls. They have to possess a structural vision that anticipates stress, gravity, the elements, well before the ground is even broken. In the context of our source, framing the entrepreneur as an architect suggests that true business creation is all about deliberate, structured foresight. It's about designing a system that can actually withstand the massive pressures of reality.
Now, if the entrepreneur is the architect, we really have to look at their specific canvas. They are the architect of enterprise. Notice what the source didn't say. It didn't say of a business or of a startup or of a company. It deliberately chose the word enterprise. And words matter. This specific linguistic choice carries a very distinct weight that we absolutely need to unpack.
See, the word enterprise frames business not just as simple, everyday commerce, it frames it as a formidable, grand undertaking. Historically speaking, an enterprise implies scale. It implies a really complex endeavor that requires immense courage, resourcefulness, and honestly, a huge tolerance for difficulty. We are definitely not talking about a weekend side hustle selling crafts out of your garage here. We're talking about a monumental build. So the architect of enterprise is someone who is actively designing a structure capable of housing a bold, multifaceted, and potentially very perilous journey.
Which brings us to this wild, fascinating dichotomy. On one side, we have the architect, a concept totally rooted in calculated structure, rigid mathematics, and precise design, right? It's all about imposing absolute order. But then, on the other side, we have the very nature of entrepreneurship, which is a concept inherently tied to dynamic risk, wild market volatility, and just navigating the vast unknown. It's literally like trying to perfectly engineer a roller coaster while the tracks are actively being built over a canyon. So the question becomes, how do you precisely architect something that is inherently unpredictable?
Well, the source basically demands that we actively engage with this exact friction. The relationship between deliberate architecture and the wild, untamed nature of an entrepreneurial venture, that is the whole shebang. That's the entire game. The text doesn't just hand us the answers on a silver platter either. Instead, by giving us only these sparse excerpts, it demands that we figure out how to bridge that massive gap between perfectly drawn blueprints and the messy, duct-taped reality of building something from absolutely nothing. So that brings us right back around to our central inquiry. What is entrepreneurship? But look at it now. After our little deconstruction here, it carries so much more weight, doesn't it? It's no longer just a simple dictionary request. It is a profound prompt for deep reflection. Is entrepreneurship simply reacting to market forces as they hit you? Or is it the act of actively, deliberately designing a structure that actually dictates the market? I really want you to think about what this truly means for the way you view business, innovation, and creation as a whole. Having examined these profound, carefully chosen words, how are you ultimately going to define entrepreneurship within your own life? So, ask yourself right now, are you just kind of letting the winds of the market push you around, crossing your fingers and hoping a business forms by accident? Or are you taking the real time to draft the blueprints, calculate the risks, and build a lasting foundation? Are you the architect of your enterprise? Thank you so much for joining me for this deep dive. Take these concepts, apply them to your own blueprints, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.